Now voters, Hardik Pandya is in bit of a soup. I'm sure by now all of you have heard of this massive controversy and the outrage that happened because of the comments that he has made in a chat show. Now, while in conversation with one of the other cricketers, Rahul, and the host of this chat show, Hardik Pandya in some ways literally boasted about his dating skills. Unfortunately, he didn't know where to draw the line. The comments became more and more cross. The comments became more and more sexist. Social media got horribly upset and there was a big controversy. Hardik Pandya then came out and apologized. He said, "I'm sorry, I didn't realize that my sentiments would be offensive or would hurt certain people. I just got carried away with the format of the show." As if a chatty, gossipy show is an excuse for you to be cross like this. But that being said and done, he's apologized. He perhaps realizes his mistake, perhaps he doesn't. The BCCI doesn't seem to be in a forgiving and forgetting mood right now. So we are given to understand that the BCCI has now issued a show cause notice to Hardik Pandya and Rahul, asking them to explain themselves and the comments they made on a TV chat show, on an entertainment show. Hardik Pandya has responded pretty much on the same lines as his public tweet, saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Maybe I got carried away." And that's that. The question that I want to ask is, should Vinod Rai, who's the chief of the committee of administrators running BCCI right now, should he really be sitting and watching a 1-hour gossipy chat show to decide whether or not Hardik Pandya needs to be punished? And if BCCI should step in, then what exactly should be Hardik Pandya's punishment? That's what I'm asking this evening. Alan Sippy, former cricketer, joins us. Sukriti Chaturvedi, radio jockey, is also with us from Noida. And Mr. K. Hariharan, former international umpire. Let me start with Alan Sippy and ask him what he thinks of this whole reaction from the BCCI, where the BCCI wants this youngster to explain himself and his comments. And Alan, what kind of punishment can we really talk about then?
Before I start on the punishment, I think BCCI must admonish this guy. What he's done is, I think, completely wrong. He has let himself down badly, and he has let the country down. So on the subject of punishing him, absolutely certain, BCCI must punish him because, see, when you play for your country, when you represent a country, you must behave in a certain manner. The manner demands that you respect, you have a good behavior, you love people. So you have no choice but to behave in that manner. Yes, he has made a mistake because he's naive, he's perhaps not well educated, but that does not mean that he should go unpunished. On the same subject, I do not want him to lose his exuberance, his flair, because that's what he's good at. But at the same time, BCCI can learn from this mistake that he has made. So BCCI themselves can learn from this mistake, that they can, in fact, perhaps going forward, employ somebody like a relationship officer to help youngsters of today, because these youngsters of today get fame, money, and all the power by the time they're 20 years old. So these guys need help too. Hardik Pandya has made a big mistake, but at the same time, I wouldn't hammer him so badly. I would guide him so that in future, he has some kind of guidance and help to become a better citizen.
Okay, let me ask Sukriti what she thought of, firstly, the comments that Hardik made. And do you think he should be punished for it?
Thanks, Tanvi. Thanks for letting me in. Of course, I watched the episode, and within 10 minutes of the episode, I decided to cringe because the comments made by him were extremely in bad taste and extremely misogynist. And I felt that more than, people are talking about the punishment and everything, and the fact that he is at that stature wherein, he needs to be responsible and everything. But my main problem is with the kind of mindset and the apology also that he's written. He's saying, I got carried away by the nature of this show. Now, you do not get carried away, or you don't become a sexist or a misogynist in just one day, right? Or maybe that's what his mindset is. And I think that's the bigger problem here. Talking about punishment, of course, I think he should be punished, because he's representing our country. He's going internationally and representing our country. And a lot of young people that I interact with on a daily basis, they idolize these cricketers. They want to be like them. A lot of my young cousins want to be like, Hardik Pandya, or they want to be like KL Rahul. They want to they play cricket, and I would not want them to say things like these, So when you are at that position, yes, you should totally be aware of what you're saying and watch your words. But at the same time, the bigger problem is, where is this coming from? Like I said in the very beginning. Of course, talking about punishment, it definitely should be punished, because I think going forward, we should never have such things. But more than that, I don't know, maybe just we could have discussions. Maybe the dressing room can have more of discussions. Why not? About these things, because I think that's really important.
Should the BCCI then limit itself to maybe having a sensitizing course for these youngsters to how to really how to talk, how to behave in public, and also maybe to teach them that these things are not really cool.
Absolutely.
Maybe at one point of time they were cool, but they aren't cool. They shouldn't have ever been, but they're definitely not now.
I'm sorry, Tanvi, they were never cool.
Yes, they were never cool, but people thought they were, and that's why. And you just let it be. So this whole locker room talk was like, oh wow, this is how men talk. That's how it is. That's how they talk. And he clearly took that locker room talk to the couch of that chat show, Mr. Hariharan. But do you think it is BCCI's place to intervene and to punish him? And punish him how?
Yeah.
Maybe say you can't give any more interviews, or maybe say you can't play your next match. What can it be?
Yeah, actually, the players, when they play cricket, they know how to play cricket, of course. But what they do is, when they come from first class cricket to the international cricket, when you play first class cricket, you don't meet the press, you don't talk to journalists, you don't have that kind of an interaction with this media and the journalism. But when they go into the international arena, so naturally, their first thing, any performances or anything, so they have to interact with the media, they have to interact with the journalists. So they are going to ask you a lot many questions, and they're going to ask you certain kind of statements they are going to ask you to make. You should be very selective. Normally, the thing is, the players are not given that kind of a training to handle the press, to handle the media, and that's where they do some mistakes. They do not know how to handle it. They are not given proper training for that. So when they do that, and whenever you go for an interview, you got the option of whether to answer that particular question or not. Even if you don't know, if you feel that that's dicey, you can always selectively say that maybe I don't want to answer this question. That kind of a thing you can always go in for. But since they are not given that proper kind of a training, so they do not know how to handle the media and press. That's number one. Number two is, see, whenever they have to give this kind of a chat show, when they have to go for a chat show or they have to appear for some interviews, they are supposed to take the permission of the BCCI. In this case, whether he has taken that or not, I'm not very sure about it. So if he has not done that, then actually BCCI is definitely going to be offended. Number three, when you are in the international level, when you are the parent organization is the BCCI, then you got the ICC, and there are world over people are watching. So naturally, you should be very selective in what you are answering and what you're not talking. And you don't have any right to insult or criticize any kind of whether being a woman or men or any person. You can do that.
Yes.
You have to be very selective. At the same time, so naturally, when you don't have the proper training for that, you are likely to commit this kind of a mistake. So naturally, you should be, when you do this, maybe for the first time, whether he has taken permission or not from the BCCI, we do not know. If he had taken the permission, and then if he has done this, that means it again very wrong. Okay, his apology will still hold good. Okay, maybe he's inexperienced to handle the press. Maybe he has not done earlier, maybe about these particular topics. Maybe that must have given him, maybe without knowing he must have answered something. I don't say that he has done it willfully or he has done it ignorantly, whatever it is. But naturally, the seriousness will be looked into by the BCCI, and maybe there will be a kind of a embargo on that. They might say that you cannot give any kind of an interview or any kind of a chat show. You can't participate without our permission.
Right.
That kind of thing will be there. And everybody is looking forward to what kind of a punishment, he's going to reply on the show cause notice, and what the BCCI will take action on that.
Well,
actually, everybody is looking forward.
So Alan, let me ask you this. We were speaking with Sadbin in the evening, and he said, this is how cricketers behave. This is how cricketers talk. It's gone on forever. I don't understand why BCCI has to react like this in this way. Do you think BCCI should maybe then first come up with a program to sensitize cricketers and say, no, this is not okay anymore? Maybe it stems from all the post-IPL match parties that they have and all the stories that come out of here. But it's not okay. This attitude is not okay. This is not how you speak about women, and this is not how you joke about women.
Frankly, I had heard the Saad bin Jung talk this evening,
yes,
and I heard his views as well.
Yes.
And I respect his views because everybody has a right to say something. But I totally disagree with what he was trying to say, because in the past, when cricketers actually must have said these things, because everybody has a loose moment, everybody can make a mistake, and everybody can apologize later. But the point is that this person is now representing the country. That's what I'm sticking to this point, that when you represent the country, you are duty bound for certain things. When you represent your office or your company, you're duty bound for certain things. You cannot break rules, you cannot do things, and when you do, you get admonished. When you do, you get chastised. So what he's done cannot be pardoned and said, well, people do that in the past. If people have done that in the past, they realize their stupidity.
Right.
In this case, this person, as you can see on television, he's got a lot of flair. He's got a lot of confidence. Obviously, the way he's dancing, he thinks he's Govinda. He thinks he's something special. That's fine. Nobody wants to curtail his exuberance, his flair, and whatever. But somebody in BCCI, and I think this is a big plus for BCCI, because from this they can learn that this mistake can be rectified in future. It might not happen in future if they teach people, these young kids of today who are multi-millionaires, they can teach them how to behave in society, how to behave when they go to the press, when they travel abroad to represent the country. They have no choice but to behave in a proper manner. You cannot pardon this saying that this was a stupid mistake and he won't do it again. He must realize, by chastising him, by punishing him, he will then realize that he's made a mistake, and then he will repent. Because if you just if you pardon him, it will be a mistake on BCCI's part, because they will feel, well, this kid will feel, well, I did something, so what? Everybody else does it. So for me, I'm a firm believer that yes, we got to be soft on him with kid gloves, guide him and help him, but at the same time, we have to punish him. BCCI must punish him.
Let me bring in Viren as well, our in-house expert on all things BCCI and sports. Viren, we didn't see this kind of initiative and alacrity from the same BCCI COA when there were sexual harassment allegations being made against the CEO. That became a big controversy. The COA wasn't even in agreement of whether he should go on leave pending investigation and what. But this seems to be different. Now, you found out from sources that Vinod Rai actually took the time out today to sit and watch the whole episode to decide what should be the punishment.
Well, that's right, Tanvi, because 3 days after this actually aired, we had tweets flooding every nook and corner, talking about the kind of comments that Hardik Pandya had made and the sort of response to them. And that in fact caught Vinod Rai a little bit by surprise. And from what we've learned, in fact, this morning, Vinod Rai actually sat down and watched the entire episode for himself to gauge whether indeed this warrants any action, or whether was this some sort of overreaction on the part of people on Twitter. Now, people have an opinion about everything that anyone ever says, but in this case, Vinod Rai thought that there was a need for an explanation, first of all, a need for an example to be made out of Hardik Pandya, because let's put things into perspective as well a little bit, Tanvi. Hardik Pandya, after his exploits with the bat and ball, many thought would be able to be molded into the sort of cricketer who, who would take over from the likes of Kapil Dev, who could be the modern day Kapil Dev in India's test team. And when you put somebody on that sort of a pedestal, you expect some sort of responsibility. Another thing I'd like to say is this, that most cricketers, Hardik Pandya included, are taken care of by multitudes of managers, PR advisors, their own brand advisors, etc., etc. So he's not as if he's a novice who's just stepped into the cricketing world or just stepped onto the cricketing scene. He is a player who's repeatedly been in front of the cameras during the IPL, done all sorts of interviews and handled himself pretty decently by all admissions. Now, when he talks about, him getting carried away during that interview with Koffee with Karan, remember, it's an hour-long program that Hardik Pandya sat down for. And having misspoke is one excuse, but when you've done it for an entire hour, then certainly people are going to ask some questions about whether you actually meant whatever you said. Okay,
I have another question for Sukriti. KL Rahul, of course, has also been asked to explain himself. Do you think with the way he was egging on Hardik and he was contributing to the stories and in general just making Hardik Pandya sound like a star for doing all these things and talking the way, he also needs to be pulled up?
I'm not sure about the fact if he needs to be pulled up or not, but yes, like you said, he was trying to make Hardik Pandya all the star and say ki, talking about the cheerleader thing, that little part where they talked about cheerleaders and they said he's been with all of them. So making comments like these, of course, I don't know where is this coming from. And like one of the people here in the discussion said that they need to realize, they need to realize their mistake more than punishing them. And like very rightly was said in the debate that, they'll come back and they'll say everybody does that. So what makes me different? But the fact that they have to realize this, both KL Rahul and Hardik Pandya, and maybe a lot of people in and around the country would also like that. But because they were not in Koffee with Karan, we don't know about them. But a lot of people, and I would say this because I have interacted with a lot of people, and a lot of people have the same kind of opinions about women, which is something that I am not okay with, and I don't like this. And I'm sure no other women will like this. So my only point is that you need to make them realize, and I don't know how you will do this, talking about sensitizing and talking about those trainings and all. Maybe that could help. But the whole point is, where is this stemming from? Where is this coming from? Treating women like just another trophy or just another record.
Well, I think as a society, we need
to establish.
Absolutely. I'm going to thank all of you because we've run out of time. But I think as a society, we need to change the way we behave, the way we talk. Every time that somebody speaks in a way that puts women down or disrespects them or mocks them, you need to stand up and tell them right away. Okay, this is not all right. This is not cool. This is not acceptable. So for everybody else who say, oh, we don't know that this would have offended somebody, that this would have angered or offended someone or made them or hurt someone, well, let's change the mindset. It's fine to be brash. It's fine to be aggressive on field and off field. It's fine to be open about how you live your life. It's fine to be partying, but it is not fine to be treating women as objects and to be talking about them as objects. So maybe Hardik Pandya has learned his lesson with the way the country has responded to him. One can only hope that over time he gets it. But is BCCI really the one who should be teaching him a lesson by banning him for one match? I am not too sure. On the issue of sexism, there are many who don't get it in our country, across the world. So if Hardik Pandya crossed the line, so did Rahul Gandhi today. First, when he mocked the PM for hiding behind a lady. That lady, by the way, is the defense minister of this country and has every right to defend the deal done by the government. Then Rahul Gandhi comes out with this statement where he tells PM, be a man and answer my question. As if Mr. Rahul Gandhi, the only way to show some courage and have some courage is to be a man. This is the kind of sexism that needs to be called out. Only then will people realize what is cool and what is not. Kya kar raha hai yaar? Mard ban is not cool anymore. People need to understand that. Thank you for joining us tonight.